Apart from its strict adherence to the philosophical method of exposition, the Abhidhamma makes a number of other noteworthy contributions integral to its task of systemization. One is the employment in the main books of Abhidhamma Pitaka of a Matika, a matrix or schedule of categories, as the blueprint for the entire edifice. This matrix, which comes at the very beginning of the Dhamma Sanghani as a preface to the Abhidhamma Pitaka proper, consists of 22 modes of classification special to the Abhidhamma method. Of these, 22 are triads, tika, sets of 3 terms into which the fundamental Dhammas are to be distributed. The remaining 100 are dyads, dukkha, sets of 2 terms used as a basis for classification. The matrix serves as a kind of grid for sorting out the complex manifold of experience in accordance with principles determined by the purposes of the Dhamma. For example, the triads include such sets as states that are wholesome, unwholesome, intermediate, states associated with pleasant feeling, painful feeling, neutral feeling, states that are karma results, productive of karma results, neither, and so forth. The dyads include such sets as states that are roots, not roots, states concomitant with roots, not concomitant, states that are conditioned, unconditioned, states that are mundane, supramundane, and so forth. By means of its selection of categories, the matrix embraces the totality of phenomena, illuminating it from a variety of angles, philosophical, psychological, and ethical in nature. A second distinguishing feature of the Abhidhamma is the dissection of the apparently continuous stream of consciousness into a succession of discrete, evanescent cognitive events called chittas, each a complex unity involving consciousness itself as the basic awareness of an object, and a constellation of mental factors, cetasika, exercising more specialized tasks in the act of cognition. Such a view of consciousness, at least in outline, can readily be derived from Sutta Pitaka's analysis of experience into the 5 aggregates, among which the 4 mental aggregates are always inseparably conjoined. But the conception remains, they are merely suggestive. In the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the suggestion is not simply picked up, but is expanded into an extraordinarily detailed and coherent picture of the functioning of consciousness, both in its microscopic immediacy and in its extended continuity from life to life. A third contribution arises from the urge to establish order among the welter of technical terms making up the currency of Buddhist discourse. In defining each of the Dhammas, the Abhidhamma texts collate long lists of synonyms drawn mostly from the suttas. This method of definition shows how a single Dhamma may enter under different names into different sets of categories. For example, among the defilements, the mental factor of greed, lobha, may be found as the taint of sensual desire, the taint of attachment to existence, the bodily knot of covetousness, clinging to sensual pleasures, the hindrance of sensual desire, etc. Among the requisites of enlightenment, the mental factor of wisdom, panya, may be found as the faculty and power of wisdom. The enlightenment factor of investigation of states, the path factor of right view, etc. In establishing these correspondences, the Abhidhamma helps to exhibit the interconnections between doctrinal terms that might not be apparent from suttas themselves. In the process, it also provides a precision-made tool for interpreting the Buddha's discourses. The Abhidhamma conception of consciousness further results in a new primary scheme for classifying the ultimate constituents of existence, a scheme which eventually, in the later Abhidhamma literature, takes precedence over the schemes inherited from the suttas such as the aggregates, sense bases and elements. In the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the latter categories still loom large, but the view of mind as consisting of momentary concurrences of consciousness and its concomitants lead to a fourfold method of classification more congenial to the system. This is the division of actuality into the four ultimate realities: paramattha consciousness, mental factors, material phenomena, and nibbana. Chitta, cetasika, rupa, nibbana. The first three comprising conditioned reality and the last unconditioned element. The last novel feature of the Abhidhamma method, to be noted here, contributed by the final book of the Pitaka, the Patthana, is a set of 24 conditional relations laid down for the purpose of showing how the ultimate realities are welded into orderly processes. The scheme of conditions applies the necessary complement to the analytical approach that determines the earlier books of Abhidhamma. The method of analysis proceeds by dissecting apparent wholes into their component parts, thereby exposing their voidness of any indivisible core that might qualify as self or substance. The synthetic method plots the conditional relations of the bare phenomena obtained by analysis to show that they are not isolated, self-contained units, but nodes in a vast multi-layered web of interrelated, interdependent events. Taken in conjunction, the analytical method of the earlier treatises of the Abhidhamma Pitaka and the synthetic method of the Patthana establish the essential unity of the twin philosophical principles of Buddhism: non-self or egolessness, anatta, and dependent arising or conditionality, paticca samuppada. Thus, the foundation of Abhidhamma methodology remains in perfect harmony with insights that lie at the heart of the entire Dhamma.